Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the CineFiles Extended Cut, the show where we break down the biggest stories of the week as told by the original CineFiles and some other stories that didn't quite make the cut. I'm your host, Matt. We have Justin, Liam, and as you guys can see, we're missing one panelist today. It's a little bit of a sad day.
No Phoebe.
No Phoebe.
No.
It's just the boys.
Just the boys. Weekends are for the boys.
Yeah,
it's not the
is.
weekend yet, but she's
Getting
off watching the circus.
On location, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, got some cool stuff coming down the pipe. Stay tuned for the announcement.
May or may not involve acrobatics of some sort.
Yeah.
It may or may not.
Yeah. You guys will
realities
we'll find
that
out.
are unlike our own.
Oh.
That's
I
a
guess.
good tease.
Yeah.
That's a good tease.
Yeah.
I
That's a
don't
good
know.
tease.
So this is kind of a special episode, guys.
Yeah.
It's a little unfortunate that Phoebe is not here with us to do it, but we're switching things up a little bit, and we're going to talk about our favorite movies of the year so far to kick things off.
I think we're halfway through the year.
Exactly.
A little bit more than halfway through.
Yeah. So we thought it'd be a pretty good time to kind of pick our brains on what we thought the best have been so far. Hopefully they're not too similar. Maybe they're, we have some
Sure,
different
there'll be
picks.
some crossover here and there.
Yeah. We have similar tastes.
Yes.
So let me kick things off with my three. You know what? It's actually three and then an honorable mention.
So you cheated.
I
I
cheated.
maybe have an honorable mention too.
Oh.
If we're doing honorable mentions, I might have to
mean,
go.
it's
I
not
was
a
gonna say,
Watch
if
Mojo
both
list, is
Liam
it?
and I had cheated, does that mean technically you cheated by not following the rules?
Yeah.
Jeez.
That we're
I
not
mean, think
set
about
in
it like
place?
that.
Now I feel
All right, let's hear
terrible.
your.
Yes. Okay, so in no particular order, I have Annihilation, Thoroughbreds, Isle of Dogs, and A Quiet Place.
Which one's the honorable mention?
See,
Pick one. You gotta pick
right after I said in no
So it's not
particular
an honorable
order.
mention.
Honorable
It's just-
mention, I'm
it's
going to
just a
give
four.
to Isle of Dogs. Honorable
Okay.
mention, Isle of
Nice.
Dogs.
Interesting.
Still haven't seen it.
It's really
I
good.
need to see it.
It's really fun. Some controversy surrounding it.
Yes.
But I think it's a little blown out of proportion.
Yeah. I think that kind of lessened its hype for me
I think
a little
so.
bit. Like a little bit, even though it's like a weird controversy. Thoroughbreds, I think, is one that people aren't talking about enough.
That's the thing.
We saw that one
Together.
the three of us. Yeah, that
We
was
did.
great.
Just the
we
boys.
did. Yeah,
Yeah,
just the
boys.
Wow, look at that. It's all coming full circle here.
we should just not have Phoebe on anymore.
Sorry, dude.
Phoebe.
If you're watching.
Yeah.
Sorry, I still want you. It's Liam that's trying to kick you out.
Yeah.
Thoroughbreds was excellent.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was
and
really cool.
Like Liam said, it's a movie that's kind of flown under the radar a little bit.
No one is talking about it. Nobody saw it.
The acting is stupendous.
Yeah.
Very interesting story. We were talking about how it was kind of like the Heathers of this generation,
Yeah,
or
and-
how a lot of people were kind of considering it that anyways.
If you rewind to a past episode where we talked about it, I think we all agreed like this is the kind of movie that'll find its audience on VOD.
Absolutely.
I think
On
that's when it
Netflix
will
or-
start really the conversation around it will ramp up.
And it's something that's super rewatchable too.
Yeah.
I agree with your list. Your list is great.
Thank
What was
you.
the other one?
I was going to say, what do you guys think of it?
Well
so
done.
there's Annihilation, Thoroughbreds, Isle of Dogs, and A Quiet
No
Place.
crossover with me. But
None.
all movies that other than Isle of Dogs,
Oh.
all movies that I wanted to include.
Well, that begs the question: what was on your list?
Let's
Liam?
throw it to you, Liam.
I put it in order. I put mine in order.
Okay, that's better.
So mine's a
dropped the
little
ball.
weird because typically I don't like superhero movies, but I saw a movie last week that blew my mind.
And it's at the top of your list?
It's not at the top of my list.
Okay.
So mine goes 3 was Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Wow, high
which I
praise.
loved.
I am
wanted to
blown
add
away by that.
for a
Yeah.
little bit of diversity because I loved it so much. 2, I had You Were Never Really Here, which was at the top earlier in the year. So great with Joaquin Phoenix. Amazing.
still
Probably
need
the
to see
best
that.
Very
performance of
dark.
the year.
Very
Still need to
dark.
see that.
Yeah.
And then number 1 is Hereditary because I have not stopped thinking about it since I saw it.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if your list is similar to mine.
Well, interestingly, I borrowed a little bit from both of you.
Oh,
my list
look at that.
So at 3, I am the token comic book guy on this podcast. So
This
I
is
figured
true.
gotta have a comic book movie, and I think Infinity War was just way better than it could have been, and way better than
Okay.
it should have been.
I think our audience was waiting for one of us to bring that movie
Yeah.
up. They were about to just slam us. What do you mean, no Avengers?
I
it
was
just
debating
casts-
Black Panther or Infinity War. I think both of them are tremendous superhero movies and very different superhero movies. But I think in terms of achievement and what the Russo brothers were able to do with Infinity War, I think that movie is just tremendous and like will have a ripple effect on the remainder of like action
Yeah.
blockbuster movies for the rest of time.
I think it just casts a shadow over everything too.
Yeah.
Like I completely forgot that Black Panther came out this year because Infinity War was right after it, and just like,
which is pretty sad because I think a lot of people kind of feel that way, and it was like a great movie, but
and a huge cultural phenomenon.
Yeah. But when you're building towards this movie for so long, I mean, it totally makes sense.
Where Black Panther is just another piece of the puzzle, you know? It just
an important piece going forward. But
I'm hoping that Ant-Man doesn't have the same thing.
He kind of lives on his own. I haven't seen Ant-Man in a while.
He really does.
Yeah.
I want to hear the rest of your list.
Yes.
So at 2, I have Hereditary.
Nice.
Which I
there you
agree
go.
I have not
Why
stopped.
isn't that the first?
Well, because I'll get to that, Liam, if you'd be a little patient.
It was too scary to get to number one.
Too spooky for me. I thought Hereditary, much like Thoroughbreds, really where it separated itself from a lot of other movies was in its sound design and the way that the sound is used to like create atmosphere and scares.
There are some really haunting sounds in that movie.
Man. And like there's songs in that movie that when I hear them, they freak me out.
Yeah.
Like you keep sharing that song.
That song at the end,
called?
Reborn.
Reborn.
Stetson's song,
It's
Reborn.
those horns are just haunting. And like it's not actually a scary song in the typical sense
I could
of,
listen
like,
to
a
that completely separated from that movie, and
I can't.
Beautiful
When
song.
I hear it, it freaks me out.
Not to deviate from your list too much, but that's one of the reasons why A Quiet Place is on my list too, because
good.
the sound design in that is brilliant.
Totally.
The year of sound design, I think.
Yeah, when
There's been a lot of
the
great
the little girl at the beginning when she's with her brother, and then there's like different sound design it's like muffled when the camera points at her,
Yes.
and then it's normal sound. I
And
was
that
like,
carries
that's
over throughout,
interesting.
yeah.
I was like, what's going on? Is the audio messed up? But then later you see she's deaf, and you're like, oh, it makes sense. That's brilliant.
Why did they turn the volume on in this movie?
So your number one.
My number one is Annihilation.
Ooh,
I think
there you go.
Annihilation
There you go.
might be my favorite movie of the year, like just at the end of the year when all is said and done. I think that movie is just so different and so unique.
Yeah.
And part of it is because of the source material. Part of it is the fact that this book is like so out there and weird. But the other part of it is Alex Garland created a visual like landscape unlike anything I've ever seen before. And I still think about moments from it. And again, the sound, like when
my God.
spoilers, maybe not really, but the way that the monster sounds, where it has like a human
The second bear
screech.
scene.
Oh my!
I just think the last half an hour of that movie is like insane.
Yeah,
It's just so disturbing, but
That-
it's a beautiful movie too. But it literally shook me to my core.
yeah.
And
the second bear scene, and then the end scene with
just
all that stuff that happens.
which is almost
No
a
spoilers,
standalone
but-
short,
yeah,
in and of itself.
yeah.
I just think as a fan of like genre movies and as a fan of sci-fi, it presented me with something that I'd never seen before, which is rare because I watched the heck out of these kinds of movies.
Yeah.
So for me to be shocked and feel like, oh, this is something completely new, that earns a top spot for me.
That's super fair.
I wanted to put that on my list. My HM, I forgot to say it, but Won't You Be My Neighbor, the documentary about
right.
Mr. Rogers,
Yeah.
was one of the best.
That would
great
be
things
an
about
interesting pick to throw in there, just because it's quite
so different. It's so oh man, it'll change your life. I'm telling you, it reminds you of the nice
good old days.
nice things in the world.
I feel like I messed up, so I'm gonna give you a rank for mine. I'm gonna put Annihilation 1, A Quiet Place 2, Thoroughbreds 3, and then Isle of Dogs as my
Wow,
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's been a great year for
list.
movies.
It has been a great year already.
A great first half, but we do have a few to look forward to. Really looking forward to Black Klansman. I think that's probably going to make its way onto my list. I'm looking forward to The Nun. I don't know if it'll be best movie of the year type scenario, but it looks like a lot of fun.
Yep.
Under the Silver Lake 2. And I think we're all excited for Bad Times at the El Royale.
yes.
So
A lot of good stuff coming out.
exactly.
I'm really excited for Paul Dano's directorial debut, Wildlife.
Oh, Wildlife. Yes, that's an anticipated one for me as well.
Also, The Sisters Brothers with
Yes.
John C. Reilly and Joaquin
Yeah.
Phoenix. I'm very excited for.
Really funny and really dark.
I wish I'd
and great.
prepared more anticipated movies, but
No, that's fine.
Lot of stuff coming out this year to look forward to.
Yep.
It's gonna be great.
Totally. And you guys have, well, the 3 biggest stories of the week to look forward to. That's coming up
Excellent segue.
next. Yeah.
Hey guys, Rebecca and Dan here. Guess what?
What?
We have a long overdue update to our Watch Mojo merch. That's right. All new t-shirts with all new designs that show off everything you love about Watch Mojo.
What does that mean? Well, you guys have very passionate opinions about pretty much every topic we cover, so why not wear that on a t-shirt?
Are you a movie buff? Can you rattle off your top 10 favorite movies with pride? Then you should definitely own a t-shirt that shows that off.
Or maybe you're a video game fan. You can wear your love of PC gaming on a t-shirt.
Superhero superfan? Ask Me About My Top 10 Favorite Comics is for you.
We've recently partnered with Amazon to create a brand new merch page where you can select your favorite t-shirt with a click of a few buttons. Head over to the link in the descriptions below and you can check out our first few designs. They're pretty sweet.
And the best part about this is the possibilities are endless. In true Watch Mojo fashion, we're actually asking you guys to vote on what designs you want to see next.
You'll also find a second link to a voting page where you can vote on your own t-shirt designs and upvote the ones you already like.
I cannot wait to wear this t-shirt out to annoy/impress my friends with my superior ranking of 80s movies.
Anyway, let us know in the comments if there's other merch you'd like to see us make, and see you next time.
All right, we are back, and the first story, well, we all know IPs are very popular nowadays. The franchise model is the way to go for studios, it seems. And we know that there is a Top Gun sequel coming out. The famous, the best jet movie of all time.
Is there any others?
Sure there are.
Yeah.
Air Force One?
There's the
That's a plane. We'll
plane.
count it. Yeah.
there's the one about the AI plane. I don't remember what
Like
it's
the
called.
drone
Artificial
plane?
intelligence?
No, it was like a plane that flew with AI and people. Anyways, not the point.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't many jet movies,
Sure.
I think.
I don't think any. It's very
Probably the
controversial.
best. I would say
to
it's the
say
best.
Top
Yes,
Gun
let's
is the
agree
best.
with me. This is the best one, and it's only going to get better, well, it's not. I guess it's a franchise now because they're coming out with a sequel.
Expanded
But,
universe.
Yes. Our boy Miles Teller has just been cast in the Top Gun sequel, and he is going to play Goose's son, who, as we remember in the first one, got into a little bit of a jet accident with Tom Cruise's character and unfortunately died. So,
Weird.
yeah, so he's going to be playing his son, and it's rumored that Tom Cruise is going to, well, he's going to reprise his role as Maverick, the hotshot pilot, and it seems that he's going to mentor Miles Teller's character, who will also be a jet pilot in this one. So, interesting. It's going to be set in modern times.
Okay. So it's going to be an age. Well, I guess that has to be an age Tom Cruise.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean, my question for you guys is, well, personally, I really like Miles Teller. I think he's a great actor, but he hasn't had too many successful films lately, has he?
Well, he notoriously got shafted from La La Land.
Yes. And I was going to bring that up. I feel like ever since that happened, his career is just kind of like, hasn't like fallen.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it has.
It's been very
It has.
sad watching
Yeah.
the roles he's been taking because
he's a
so
good-
promising in Whiplash.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like,
And that's about it.
Fantastic wasn't like, it wasn't bad because of him.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he was fine
great
in it. He was
it,
good.
but it wasn't
Yeah.
bad because Miles Teller, you know, his
Yeah.
line readings were terrible.
Yeah.
He was fine. It's a bad movie, but I think that really hurt his reputation.
I agree.
a little bit.
I'll also say, have you seen The Spectacular Now? No,
I
he's
have
in that, and he's tremendous in that as
it's a
well.
great
with
movie.
Shailene Woodley. Yeah,
Early A24 movie, I think,
yeah.
right?
Brie Larson is in it as well.
Interesting.
Great film.
I almost wonder, like, is there really like a market for this movie in 2018, 2019? Really?
I think so. Yeah.
You have to keep in mind, man, it's the same thing we've talked about where it's like when like the average movie consumer looks at what's out and they see, you know, something that's familiar to them, just a follow-up, like a name they recognize, they're twice more likely to go see that than something that they've never heard
And
of.
Tom Cruise is like one of the last kind of big ticket actors I can bring in.
But even so, IP power has like surpassed star power. Like people
That's
are
fair.
more interested
Yeah.
in seeing movies from IPs that they recognize, not necessarily even care about, just stuff that they've heard of before.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just
Than
that's
like
fair.
stars or like big
Rogue-
ticket actors.
Rogue One jumped into mind right away with that because, you know, Star Wars. But also the cast wasn't
Didn't have any
you know,
big-ticket
Felicity
actors.
Jones, great actress, but like mainstream audiences aren't going to be like, oh my God, Felicity Jones, she's huge, this is amazing. You know,
Yeah.
it's like,
How many
so that's
actors do
fair.
you know? I mean, we have ours. We have our Ryan Goslings and our
Yes.
guys like that, where it's
Yes.
like anything that they show up in, I'm gonna go see. But there aren't that many like star actors who command that box office instantaneously anymore.
Yeah.
There aren't that many people out there.
It's
that
a fair
feel like
point.
that.
It's a very fair
Cruise's
point.
star has fallen a little bit. Like, The Mummy didn't do super well.
Totally.
But I feel that's maybe just more so that some IPs just don't lend themselves exactly to success. Especially that they changed that Mummy franchise. Well, not the franchise, but that movie a lot.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like this kind of comedy horror thing. And Tom Cruise is at the point in his career now where he literally can do anything he wants. So he just told the producers, like, can we make this an action movie where I can do like crazy stunts? And they're like, yeah, sure, Tom, of course.
Supernatural
so
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why people were kind of put off from it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tom Cruise, he's great, but
Yeah.
I guess it is like his most iconic performance, right?
Probably
At
up
this
there.
point, I'm trying to think
Certainly
of what
Definitely
else
one of
he's
his like one of his most popular early kind of roles for sure.
One of his most quotable roles. A
Yeah.
lot of people still quote that
100%.
movie.
Yeah.
The volleyball scene is very
Oh,
iconic at
yeah.
this point. Yeah,
Almost-
I wonder if
how
there's gonna be
could I
another
forget
volleyball
about
scene. Miles Teller is gonna.
Please.
Miles is just like, Maverick, you're embarrassing.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I'm with my young friends.
What if this movie
That's
is
the whole movie. Is
amazing?
Him.
What if this movie is
Embarrassing.
Whiplash, but with planes?
Oh my god!
Like it's just Tom Cruise in the J.K. Simmons role, and
Yeah.
instead of drumming, they're talking about planes.
Yeah.
It's like that's not my tempo.
Oh,
And I don't know.
If you crash my jet, I will gut you like a pig.
I will watch that movie.
Yeah.
If that's what the trailer ends up being, I'm
It's hilarious.
very in.
Oh, I hope Kenny Loggins is back for the. It's Kenny
Oh.
Loggins, right? That did the soundtrack.
Soundtrack, I'm pretty sure.
Danger
Yeah.
Zone? They're probably gonna
Interesting.
revamp that into like a trap remix or something.
Oh my god.
That's the first trailer, or alternatively, like a sad remix.
Yeah, it's gonna open with the piano, like the melody of
Yeah. and then just like a singer-songwriter voice.
yeah.
Danger Zone.
Yeah, that's so good. So my question for you guys, or another question anyways, is do we think that this can kind of be a vehicle for Miles Teller to get back on, a successful note in
Sure.
Hollywood?
I think so.
Starring alongside Tom Cruise, I think probably
Yeah.
will. But I mean, anything could happen, right?
Interesting.
anything
Yeah,
can
that's a
happen.
very
Hot,
open-ended.
hot take.
I mean, like the
Liam.
cast for Fantastic Four was pretty great,
Yes, it
That
was.
is a
and that
and
got
even
Yep.
like it still is. I mean, like
Michael
B. Jordan's
top
a
of the world
star.
right now.
Kate Mara's kind of disappeared a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately,
but
I thought she's really good.
she's still great, and I'd love to see her in more stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it could definitely.
It's just so weird that we're talking about Top Gun.
Exactly.
know,
That's
right?
the
Like,
thing. Like
it's
that's
so like something outside of my like interest.
I've never seen or heard anyone say like at the end of Top Gun like, yeah, but what happens next?
Yeah.
What about in 40
Yeah.
years from now? What happens next? So I don't know.
It's going to be interesting. The director had mentioned in an interview that he was like, oh, in the original Top Gun, there were no wars going around. It had been like 15 years since the U.S. were at war. So the story is going to be completely different to the one now because the U.S. is currently involved with all these different kind of battles and wars and
Yeah,
stuff.
conflicts.
So he's like, it's going to be a bit more intense. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder how that's going to kind of come into play.
No
It's
time
not.
for
It's going to be
volleyball.
all
No.
volleyball.
All volleyball. It seems like it's going to be maybe a little bit more, maybe like political. I don't know. It's going to appeal to the American patriotism.
Very
Of the
That's
day.
pretty strong right now.
Interesting.
So that's interesting. I'll see it. Well, maybe I'll see it. It depends how the
Is
trailer
there a
looks when it
subtitle out
comes
yet, or is it just Top Gun 2?
I think they're going with Day of the Soldado.
Yeah, nice. Oh, nice.
Bottom
now I'll
gun.
see it. Yeah, bottom gun.
gun. So we'll see. I mean, I'll wait and see what the trailer's like to give me kind of an
Yeah,
idea of what it's going to be
likewise.
like. But we'll see. We'll see. This one I'm actually kind of excited for, but I'm also questioning a little bit. Greta Gerwig,
Yes.
friend of the show. She's not.
she?
I wish
Insofar
she was.
as we mention her.
Yeah.
Come on the show, Greta.
So Greta Gerwig, she blew up last year with. She
blew up.
Tragic. Really
I hear about
sad.
this.
So sad. She blew up with Lady Bird, is what I'm saying.
nice.
Yeah. Nice. Of course. So she did Lady Bird, nominated for a bunch of Oscars, Golden Globes, lots of
Yes.
awards. So it basically gave her like carte blanche to do whatever she wanted to do. And her next project looks like it's going to be Little Women. So an adaptation of a novel that's already been adapted to film
multiple times.
7 times.
Wow.
Hers will be the 8th time.
This is kind of disappointing to
See,
me.
I didn't know it had been remade that many times. So I heard the first thing I heard was like Greta Gerwig will be directing this movie, and I was like, oh, that's great. Emma Stone is in talks to star. That's also great. Saoirse Ronan and Timothée Chalamet coming back from Lady Bird.
Really?
Yes,
Timothée Chalamet?
They're in
And?
talks. It's not official.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, they've
probably all
worked
best friends at
together.
this
Yeah,
point, yeah.
exactly. So I'd be surprised if they didn't end up being cast. And the only official person to join this so far is Meryl Streep,
Yikes.
which is huge. She's going to be playing Aunt March. So that's a huge cast. So when I saw that, I was like, this is going to be awesome. But then I found out it's going to be like the 8th adaptation of the film, and there's already one coming out this year.
Yeah, I read that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
So-
kind of disappointing because it's like there's like this story's been told 8 times already.
Yeah.
There is the possibility that she does something interesting, like modernizes it or.
But see, the one coming out this year is like modernized into today's
fantastic.
time. Yeah.
That was straight to DVD though, right? So it doesn't count.
I think it's coming.
Liam,
don't
it's,
know. I'm not
it's
sure.
2018. Things are straight to VOD.
Oh yeah, sorry, VOD. Nobody buys.
Yeah.
Video.
Tape? Yeah.
Very interesting.
But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Is this the right project for her to be tackling post Lady Bird? Because she's like at the tip top of her career right now, and she's doing something that's kind of been,
I mean, the
it's like
cast,
beating a dead horse almost.
This potential cast is like insane.
Yeah.
So I think like with the star power like this, like I will probably see it regardless.
Yeah, I think I'd see it too, and I'm sure I'm not sure, but I have high hopes that it's going to be great because Greta Gerwig, she's proven that she's a really great director.
Sure.
All of the people in play to potentially act are huge in the biz right now and all very talented. So all the pieces are there to work, but it's just what can be added to this that's going to be fresh and new.
I think we could probably lock in Meryl Streep for the Oscar nomination.
At least a nomination,
next year.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Which is
shocking stuff here.
This is just screams like Meryl Streep getting an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting.
I think it's a smart career move to make something recognizable, like we were saying.
IPs.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah,
It's weird to call. Yeah, it is though. It's weird to call Little Women like this classic novel IP, but it is. It's something people recognize. At this point, the 8th movie to be in this IP alongside
and that's
of it.
not even mentioning like the TV like miniseries and shows they've made on it too. So
I think that she has a creative enough voice to give her own spin on it. I'm still disappointed because the thing about Lady Bird that impressed me more than the direction was the writing and the way that the characterization just felt really authentic and real.
Yeah.
And the dialogue just like was tremendous. And I was really into that part of it because she'd written for film before. She co-wrote Frances Ha, which she also starred in.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part of her career trajectory that really interests me. I'm like, oh, she's a tremendous writer. Like, let's see what she comes up with next. And adaptation is certainly a worthwhile pursuit if you're writing for film. But at the same time, I would have loved to see an original screenplay, another original screenplay from Greta Gerwig.
That's a very good point because it reminds me, I mean, she had just come off Lady Bird, obviously, and it's like such a personal and emotional movie for her. So it kind of makes sense that maybe she just wants to get out of her head a little bit and do something that's not hers. And it reminded me of Derek Cianfrance, who directed Blue Valentine, Place Beyond the Pines. Yeah. And
were you saying CineFiles? Because I've been
CineFiles. I always said CineFiles.
I'm not sure. I apologize if I butchered your name.
Hit us up.
Great director.
Let us know how it's said.
But then his latest movie, I'm blanking on the title right now, but it's Michael Fassbender and
Light Among Oceans or something like that.
I thought it was. And see, that's an adaptation of a book.
Yeah.
And he himself said like, oh, I could have gone with like one of the other scripts I had ready, but my stories are kind of always a little dark and stuff. So I just wanted to get out of my head and work on something entirely different. And it was a good movie, but it just didn't have his voice, you know, and it didn't resonate as much as his 2 previous films.
And I almost think for an instance like that, like he might just be like adapting a popular book so that he could fund his next movie, because maybe his next like project is like super ambitious and nobody wants to fund it.
That's a very good point. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah,
same with Greta.
But it's hard to believe that Greta Gerwig, after the success that she had with her original movie, that no one would be willing to fund. And it's not like, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe her next original is like this space opera that has like a $300 million budget. But I don't think it'll be that hard to finance something in the vein of a Little Women or a Lady Bird. These are very personal, like low budget stories that. That's the other thing. It would have been really cool to see her keep in the indie tradition. Like she came from that world. She made a movie in that 100%. World. This feels a little bit more bottom tier studio, like mid tier movie that they don't make that much anymore. But it feels more like that kind of classic.
That's interesting.
If you're casting Meryl Streep in your movie, you kind of know what movie, like what movie you're making.
Absolutely.
But then also, if she feels comfortable enough to work with Greta Gerwig, then she obviously believes in her. So,
yeah, for sure.
I think I'll definitely see it. I just hope that there's enough of like an original spin to it.
100%.
And
I think she probably knows.
I feel that she'll be able to nail it. I mean, she's talented.
She probably knows something that we don't. Like, she's probably got some sort of like crazy idea for it.
These guys don't know that I am doing this in space.
She knows her audience. I think she knows
this
her
is the space opera. This is the one. I'm into it.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Okay, so let's wrap that one up. This is the next one. The number one story it's a big one, guys. Yeah. The internet blew up on both sides. People were,
of course,
arguing for it. People thinking it's good, it's bad. So Scarlett Johansson, who had previously been in a huge controversy, a huge casting controversy when she took the role of Motoko Kusanagi. I think that's the character's name in Ghost in the Shell.
Yes.
And obviously people freaked out because what many people thought was like another example of whitewashing in Hollywood, because the character, while a robot, is supposed to be like a Japanese kind of Japanese flesh character. So people weren't excited that she had taken that role. And it seems that she's kind of doing it all over again. There's this movie titled Rub and Tug that's being produced right now. And it's the real life story of a man called Dante Tex Gill, who's a transgender man. And it follows his story of him building up this prostitution ring and massage parlor throughout the 70s and 80s. And guess who's playing this man?
Is it Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson is, yes. So she's tackling the role
very interesting
of a transgender man. And obviously the internet freaked out thinking, oh, ScarJo's taking another role from like not just minorities, but like transgender people. So a lot of people are upset with that. I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts. Actually, I'll add a bit more context. So she did respond to this whole controversy.
Yeah, her response was
that's the thing.
No bueno.
To be honest, I can understand both sides of certain points to both sides of the arguments for her taking this role. I mean, it is acting. You don't necessarily. The whole point of acting is to
play
become someone
else.
Yeah. So I can understand to some extent that argument. But when her response is not, it just didn't seem thought out enough to me. She basically said, oh, you guys have a problem with that? Well, then talk to the reps of Jeffrey Tambor and Jared Leto for their roles, and then come back to me. And that's, it's just...
Yeah, it's a little...
worth noting that Jeffrey Tambor, aside from the controversy that he's in right now, when he won an Emmy for Transparent, in his acceptance speech, he said, let me be one of the last cisgender men or cisgender people to portray a trans person on screen.
He did say that?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's really weird.
Well, no, it's the kind of thing where it's like
I could be the last person to...
But it's also like he's kind of saying like he understands that that's not the direction that it should keep going.
Exactly. And I think that shows a certain kind of empathy.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that what we know about him now is that he's an aggressive personality.
Dude. Yeah.
But that seems to me the sentiment. It seems weird to make a movie about like a transgender issue. Not necessarily a transgender issue. It's part of who this person was. Right?
Transgender story.
It's not a movie that's going to be like, let's explore transgenderism. This person was transgender. Let's tell the story of like their life and what they did. If you're going to go in that direction, you would think that you'd want to position yourself as an ally of that community, because you're going to be using them. Yeah. Not using them, that's the wrong terminology, but it's going to be a part of your movie.
Yeah.
So to antagonize them in such a way that seems
that's
pretty predictable.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like you could like claim ignorance on this one. I don't know if you can just be like, but we didn't think you'd be upset. Especially that she's teaming up with the same director.
That's the thing.
Who made Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's the same guy.
Oh my God.
And it's like, just to kind of go even further on that point, it's like you went through this controversy with the same director for almost the same type of issue, like potentially taking jobs away from minorities and trans people. And you didn't see this playing out in a similar way this time either. It's like, didn't you kind of not learn from Ghost in the Shell?
And I'm sure there's a lot of people who are thinking like, okay, but it's acting, right? Like, what's the problem with someone portraying another person?
Yeah.
There have been plenty of women who have played men in Shakespeare plays. In fact, Shakespeare in the beginning, there were no women actors, so men would play the women parts. Like, there's a long tradition of that happening in cinema and in storytelling and in acting in general. But I think there's two ways to go about reading this, right? It's either they were ignorant and thinking that there would be no controversy, which makes them stupid.
Yes.
Or this is a publicity stunt
to get them
to create a controversy around the movie, which plays into the reputation of the director. So
which morally I find is
reprehensible and awful and
yes,
terrible.
Yes.
Insane.
So those are really your two options. They either didn't think it through and they're dumb because this was obviously going to upset people, or it's on purpose to stir up controversy. And I don't think there's any other way to read it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's really
something.
telling that like this is the second time in like what 2 years that this guy has had like casting controversy attached to his movies with the same two people, like him and ScarJo.
And Scarlett's reps, like I don't understand how. Like I'd love to be a fly on the wall to just see what their discussion was.
Oh, yeah.
Because they had
Putting
to
the
have
statement
known
out,
this was
too.
going to be controversial, and then to come out with this statement. Yeah.
Just like pushing the blame on other people. Like
Yeah.
there was. I think it was Elle Fanning. There was a movie with Elle Fanning like a year or two ago that was like the same issue where she was playing like a transgender.
Yeah.
She was playing transgender, and it was like a much smaller movie, so I don't think it made the waves. But like, it's like so interesting that like these, just the like. I didn't know that it was the same guy.
Yeah.
That did.
Yeah. And it also just makes me think of like how crazy the shift has been like socially in just the last year or 2 years, you know, because when Jeffrey Tambor was doing that role in Transparent, he was being praised
also,
and he was saying, this is amazing. You're telling these people's stories and it's important and you're doing a great job. And then, 1 year, 2 years later, some cisgender person tries to do the same thing and it's a completely different reaction.
It's certainly a difficult issue. It's certainly, we don't have the answers, right?
You worded it very well, though. I think you.
I think you just got to be pretty dumb if you didn't see this coming.
Yeah, that's the thing.
If you're the guy who made Ghost in the Shell and you've already experienced this controversy firsthand, you either got to want this or you got to be pretty stupid.
On the other side of the coin, though, I kind of, I guess, a little bit feel bad for Scarlett Johansson because she's an actor. She just wants to act and tell stories. And this by no means means that she's not a supporter of, like transgender people or is like actively going out trying to steal minorities' roles and stuff like that. But you have to be aware of the fact that, you kind of are. And it's not like... there's also the argument going around that people are like, well, if you want to sell a movie, you need a star. Scarlett Johansson is a star. You can't cast a transgender man in that role and make money.
It's so old Hollywood.
It's old Hollywood,
just
and
not
it doesn't
true
make
anymore.
sense because a Fantastic Woman came out this year and reaped a ton of awards. People loved it, critically acclaimed.
For sure.
And what the other movie, Tangerine as well has transgender
actors.
It's crazy. Like I think about a lot of movies now that just like don't have a star in it. Like I mean, like
we were just talking about that
scale.
before too. It doesn't necessarily, success doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a big star at the forefront anymore.
Well, like look at like Get Out didn't really have like any huge names in it, right?
No.
That made a ton of money. Because it's like word of mouth goes
you can
such
make
a long
the argument
way.
Allison Williams is a big star from being on Girls for
really
5 years, but not really because it's not like that.
I think word of mouth, like the internet, has just transformed the way that people like talk about movies and like the way that people.
And it's two different it's two different sides, right? You can make the argument that if I'm making a superhero movie, yes, sure, I need to have stars in it because I just spent $400 million. I need to make that money back. I don't know how much a biopic about a rub and tug place is gonna.
That's fair.
I don't know, man. It's just so weird. It's just so weird. And like, I think people have the right to be upset, and I think that her response was.
She should have thought that out more. Her people should have.
Just tone deaf.
That's what you're saying. Like you're
Read
saying,
the room.
Like we're not saying that she doesn't care about these issues, but like I think.
But when you come out and say something like that,
it's a little like not suspicious, but it's a little.
I can understand it because she's clearly on like the defensive mode. Yeah. But now's not. This situation is not the time for you to be making a comment like that. In my opinion,
I also want to say that it's a super messy issue. I don't assume that I have all the answers. Yeah, but like
nor do I or we.
We're just white males.
That's very true.
Weekends are for the boys, as we said.
Weekends are for the boys.
I mean, so controversy aside, this does seem like a very interesting story. And there's stories that need to be told, I think. So that's important. That was a tough one, guys. I think we did pretty good for that one. And all three stories, quite frankly.
Yes.
We're getting real good at this.
Not bad.
Yeah. But I think we're going to have some water, take a little break, and come back in maybe a minute or two. Yes. How about that?
It's hot in here.
So it's time for a break. We'll catch up with you guys soon.
Hey guys, Rebecca and Dan here. Guess what?
What?
We have a long overdue update to our WatchMojo merch. That's right. All new t-shirts with all new designs that show off everything you love about WatchMojo.
What does that mean? Well, you guys have very passionate opinions about pretty much every topic we cover, so why not wear that on a t-shirt?
Are you a movie buff? Can you rattle off your top 10 favorite movies with pride? Then you should definitely own a t-shirt that shows that off.
Or maybe you're a video game fan. You can wear your love of PC gaming on a t-shirt.
Superhero superfan? Ask me about my top 10 favorite comics is for you.
We've recently partnered with Amazon to create a brand new merch page where you can select your favorite t-shirt with a click of a few buttons. Head over to the link in the descriptions below and you can check out our first few designs. They're pretty sweet.
And the best part about this is the possibilities are endless. In true WatchMojo fashion, we're actually asking you guys to vote on what designs you want to see next.
You'll also find a second link to a voting page where you can vote on your own t-shirt designs and upvote the ones you already like.
I cannot wait to wear this t-shirt out to annoy/impress my friends with my superior ranking of 80s movies.
Anyway, let us know in the comments if there's other merch you'd like to see us make, and see you next time.
Welcome back to the CineFiles Extended Cut, and if you want to check out the show as an audio podcast, you can do that because we're on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. So now it's time for the cutting room floor. These are the stories that didn't quite make the top 3, but they're still good stories, so we're going to talk about them.
It's called Chomping at the Bit, isn't it? Didn't we change the name?
Have we changed it?
I don't
Chomping
know.
at the Bit?
It's pretty good.
We're chomping at the bit. Yeah. This is the segment where. So the first one, this one just came out, I think it was yesterday. Idris Elba has been cast in, I didn't even know this was going to be a movie, but The Rock has a spin-off from the Fast and the Furious franchise, which is going to be called Hobbs and Shaw. So it's going to be The Rock and Jason Statham's characters. A little bit of a duo kind of thing. And Idris Elba has been cast in this movie as the villain. So it seems like the duo is going to go head-to-head with our boy Idris.
Amazing.
Ooh. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this has been in production for a while, or like at least
Talked about for a while.
It's been talked about for a while.
I'm sure it's been announced, but it's just something that's like completely slipped my mind for the longest time.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting next step for the franchise, even though I'm not particularly a fan of those. I'm interested, like, with Bumblebee doing a complete 180. Like, I think it'll be like an interesting next step. You know, it's gonna be like in a similar vein of like them just kind of doing something different.
This movie, I think, like the Fast and the Furious franchise has been pushing up against the fact that, oh yeah, it's about cars.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, throw in like I don't know, what's a cool car? Like just throw in one of those. This feels like they named it that. They're free to just make an action movie.
Well, that's it, right? Because I think The Rock's first appearance in this franchise was Fast 5, I think.
Yes.
And that was like, it was almost like a decision by the producers to be like, you know what? It's been about cars and stuff, but let's just kind of, like, we'll still have some cars, but let's turn this into more of like an action kind of franchise.
Yeah.
And I remember watching 5 and I was like, wow, this is way better than any of the other ones I've watched before.
Ooh,
so it kind of, I think that's the best one of the franchise, to be honest.
I think there's only so much you can do with street racing.
That's it. Yeah, it gets old.
Well, you can't make 7 or 8 movies out of it. That's certainly true.
We've had 4 movies of racing, and then we did drifting. I think that's all we can do, guys.
I just love the idea that like this, like in the first movie, the most exciting thing that happens is like a drag race. Yeah. And then in these new movies, there's like cars falling out of planes. Like,
there's like that one scene where they're like drive through one building, jump out the building, and then like land on another building.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It was 2 or 3 buildings.
Yeah,
that was.
It's
ridiculous.
Like so unrealistic, but like, I mean, people love them.
Yeah.
This movie's gonna make so much money.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
It will.
Because I keep thinking like The Rock's hype must die down at some point, but then it just like keeps getting bigger. Yeah. It's crazy.
The only thing I don't like about The Rock is whenever a movie doesn't do well of his, he always goes, you know, we made this movie for the fans, not the critics.
Baywatch was the reaction to Baywatch was insane.
He's kind of the worst on Twitter, when it comes to that. Yeah.
I don't want to say he's the worst. Come on the show though, The Rock, Dwayne.
Yeah,
The Rock
we
Johnson.
still love you, but it's like you don't have to be so defensive.
Well,
come defend yourself.
Yeah. But I'm pretty stoked to see Idris throw down with The Rock and Jason Statham. It's going to be pretty cool.
I think he's like, can he throw down at The Rock? The Rock's much bigger than him.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think many people can throw down with The Rock, but I mean...
But you're so big, right? There's only so many moves you can do.
To
if you're small and nimble, you can maybe get in some...
Yeah.
I'd love to see a little psychological villain in this franchise.
Maybe that's what it'll be.
No, Charlize was probably...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was taking on Vin Diesel.
That one.
Maybe Idris comes dressed in his Thor garb and he's... The crossover event.
Yeah, the crossover event.
Well, yeah, he's done in Marvel.
Spoilers.
Oh boy,
He's done though.
Is he? No.
Yes.
Maybe now he can play James.
Yeah,
maybe now he can play
James
James
back
Bond.
out of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine he's James Bond in this movie, and that's the reveal.
Connected universe.
Connect 4. Interesting. So that's that. Oh, and it's also forgot to mention it's going to be directed by Deadpool 2's director.
That's one of the guys that
John
did
Wick.
John Wick. This is going to be this should be great then.
I believe his name is.
David Leitch. Yeah.
Yeah,
Leitch, however you pronounce it.
He did a great job in Deadpool 2.
Yeah. So the pieces are in place.
Yeah, I think this guy and like the other guy that who's the other guy that directed John Wick? Like the first Chad something.
Yeah.
They were like stuntmen,
Yeah.
and I think they were just like leading this action.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Franchise. I guess revitalization or whatever it is.
Yeah, he just has a real keen eye for big action set pieces.
I think if you know how like the inner workings of like all those action set pieces work, I think it probably works in your favor.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the next story that didn't make the cut was Child's Play is getting rebooted.
I'm excited.
Are you?
Yes.
It's being produced by the It producers. I know how you feel about It. So I don't know if that term, but they're just producers, so they're just
they're just producers.
Money
just
overseeing
working
things.
scenes.
Yeah, and it's directed by Lars Klevberg, who I've never heard before, but he had directed a horror movie called Polaroid, and I've seen the trailer, but the movie has like never come out.
Really?
I have a question. Is it about Polaroids?
Yes.
Okay. Why is there a horror movie about everyday objects, like every single one?
The cell phone's gonna kill you. The camera's gonna kill you. Yeah. Ouija board. Yeah.
That's not an everyday object, though.
I mean, go to a person's house, you're likely to find a Ouija board.
Yeah, it's probably in the bookshelf with the other
tucked away with the board games.
With Monopoly.
Doesn't belong there. Monopoly is like, get this guy away from me.
I don't feel comfortable.
He's a maniac.
Devil?
This is scary.
With the elevator?
The elevators
An evil haunted
can be
elevator?
scary. They turn Truth or Dare
Elevators
into
and everyday
a horror
yeah.
movie. So I don't know. That's pretty weird. Polaroids, not the scariest thing I've ever seen, but
yeah, no, I agree.
But you know what is scary? Chucky the doll.
Yeah,
terrifying.
Yeah,
the first Child's Play is so great, but I'm interested because like he's so like silly and he's so like
that. Yeah,
because like Child's Play was one of those things where as a kid I would always hear about Chucky and like see the poster and I'd be like, oh, like that's like the scariest movie I've ever seen. But then I watched it when I got older and I'm like, he just like says like, ridiculous stuff.
I was gonna say the exact same thing.
There used to be. Remember video stores?
Oh yeah.
Back in my day, there used to be video stores. They used to sell toys in the front of the video store I used to go to, and they had a big Chucky doll. And I remember my family would go to the video store quite often, and I remember every time I would go in, I knew exactly where it was, and I would do this. I would just like,
oh really?
I could.
I blinders.
That was not even look at it. It was too
Hellraiser. Hellraiser, the box art for Hellraiser always scared the hell out of me.
There was the box art for It. The original It was too much for me as a kid. Clowns and dolls, get them away from me.
I'm very interested to see what tone they take with this. If he's still going to be silly.
They got to, right? That's like in the DNA.
Yeah, I guess it is. But they've gotten more silly. Like they're more of a comedy now. Like the original was a horror with some because he was so silly.
I think you kind of have to stick with that direction because I mean the doll itself is not. I mean, as
looking
children,
at him, he's creepy. Yeah, as children,
But now he even looks comedic. He's not like an Annabelle doll. He's a stereotypical kind of.
Well, when they turned it into the comedy franchise, when like they gave him a wife and a kid, and it was super, so
exactly.
bizarre.
Yeah, Bride of Chucky. So that's interesting. Another popular IP being rebooted.
There you go.
So I have no surprises there. Hopefully it's good.
Why am I surprised?
We'll see. Yeah, we're not. And then the other one is kind of more of just a little fun story. I haven't heard of the movie, but Khali the Killer had apparently already been released in theaters. Or no, it never went to theaters, actually. It was a straight to VOD situation.
Interesting.
But then the distribution, like Sony landed the distribution for North America or something like that, and they wanted to release the trailer on YouTube, but then they released the whole movie instead.
How does this even, like...
That's insane, right?
To me, this has to be some guy... like at his job, just being like, I hate this job. I'm gonna do this to like screw them over.
Because it's true. You upload it, and you'd realize it's taking forever.
Yeah, I was joking, like, man, this trailer's like huge. Why is this trailer 4.5 gigabytes?
I saw like all
the
comments in the video were just like, and like people are saying trailers are too long. Like,
this trailer gives away the whole movie.
This trailer gives away the whole movie.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I mean, honestly not much to talk about.
It's
with
a
that
gaffe.
one, but it's
a goof. Someone goofed.
It happens.
But like, it happened with that the Mummy. This is the second time we talked about the Tom Cruise Mummy. I don't know why, but that
the
with
sound
the
mix-up?
audio
Soundless
thing was
trailer,
so
yeah.
funny.
Yeah,
That scream.
that was my favorite video that year. I
Studios
think. It was so good.
need to keep doing this.
Yes.
Yeah.
These
For
are
our
these
entertainment.
are great gaffes and goofs.
But at that point, like, why would you even like? I'm sure it's still up, right?
The movie?
Yeah.
No, they couldn't.
Really?
They took
that
yeah,
down, yeah.
They took it
I
down.
don't know. At that point, you gotta like just figure it's a loss.
Just
and
throw
then-
like 15 ads in there and just be
Yeah.
like, let's
Yeah.
just see what happens.
It's like they're watching on TV.
yeah.
Kids don't know what TV is nowadays. They won't be upset. So I thought that was it's just crazy.
It's a funny
whole
story.
movie on YouTube.
It could have been way worse had it been in a movie that people actually cared to see.
yeah.
Or
Yeah,
luckily
exactly.
it was something that, listen, we come in here, we talk about movie news every year. Every
year.
week, once a year. I've never heard of this movie.
Yeah.
So like that goes to show you that I feel like if anything, more people saw this movie now
Because of
than
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
would
Is like,
have
why would you not keep
before.
it up? Because now it's like,
Yeah.
and keep the official trailer like title. Because now people are gonna be like, oh, this is so like such a meme now.
Liam's working on the conspiracy theories here.
Yeah.
You should go be a marketing
I
executive
should.
for Sony.
They're
Just like,
gonna
leave
make
it up
more
there,
money.
guys.
They're gonna make more
Trust
money
me.
keeping it up than.
Sony's had a lot of trouble with leaks lately, right? So I mean,
Very,
you should get in there.
very
Liam.
good point.
Yeah. So we'll quickly talk about some new releases. You've seen it, Ant-Man and the Wasp,
So good. Everyone go
wait.
see it.
coming out
Can't
this weekend.
Make more money than Infinity War, please.
Yes.
Do you think that's gonna happen? No. No.
No.
It's probably gonna be at the top of the box office after the weekend.
Yes.
You
I
could
would
say
assume.
that the amount of money it'll make will look like an ant in comparison.
Yes.
Oh.
There it
Very
is,
small.
people. There it is.
So I think a lot of people are gonna be seeing that. I might actually see this straight away though. Sorry to Bother You is coming
Yeah,
out
it
this
looks
weekend as
so
well
good.
with
I'm
Lakeith
excited for this.
Stanfield. That looks like a wild. Like I don't even know
I
what's
remember when
happening.
the
still haven't
trailer
seen-
dropped,
I
the
s-
internet exploded.
Yeah.
It was such a good
I
trailer.
still haven't seen a trailer, so I'm
What?
gonna go in blind.
That's awesome.
Oh man, you're gonna be shocked.
You're in
then.
for a treat.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Then I'm gonna go see
It's
it this
pretty
weekend.
wild. Yeah.
I'm in this weekend. The first Purge also came out this week. Did you do your research?
It came out on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yeah.
For July 4th.
July 4th.
Independence Day. Oh, happy Independence Day belated
our
to all our.
American-
And
Yeah.
Canada Day was last weekend.
So yes, happy belated Canada
Yes.
Day to our Canadian listeners as well. But yeah, they came out on Wednesday. That's true.
And happy
Yeah.
Lithuanian
We reviewed it.
Christmas.
Really?
No,
Oh, okay.
it's made up. Not real.
I would have believed you.
It's fake.
Liam, you were saying, was this was
We
that
reviewed-
a plug?
Yeah, we reviewed it. It's on the Mojo Talks channel,
There
I
it is.
believe. Eric reviewed it, and he said it was good.
Excellent.
Well, he said it was
So-
all right. He said it's like for a fun time. Go see it.
Okay.
I'm
I'll leave
always,
it at
That's
that.
fun.
always
Yeah.
into a fun time.
Down-
I shouldn't
down
have
for a
just
little
spoiled the
popcorn
review.
flick.
Right
I have
now.
not seen a Purge movie. I don't think I'm going to start with this one.
This
I
is
don't
like
know.
a
I think they're
prequel, right?
fun times.
Was it a
a
prequel
fun
that
movie.
one?
Yeah, it's a prequel.
Yeah. So it's like how it all started.
Yeah,
kind
and
of
it gets
thing?
pretty political. So, all you.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course it
Yeah.
does.
Yes.
Interesting. So guys, that basically wraps up the show. Again, we're very bummed that Phoebe's not here.
She'll be back next week, though.
Next week she'll be back, but we hope you guys enjoyed the show. Just the boys today.
Just the boys.
Just the boys. So again, thank you so much for checking out the CineFiles Extended Cut. Be sure to subscribe to Mojo Talks for more. And again, if you prefer just listening to us and not watching our faces, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher for the podcast versions. For myself, Justin, and Liam, thank you so much for listening, guys. We're going to see you next time. Have a good one.
See you.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to our Mojo Talks YouTube channel for the video version of the CineFiles Extended Cut.